Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Abraham Lincoln wheat penny coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into a particularly fascinating and historic coin, the United States 1 cent 1949. This seemingly humble coin has a rich story to tell, and if you're a collector or even a casual fan of numismatics, you'll definitely want to stick around until the end, as we reveal just how much this tiny treasure could be worth today. The year 1949 holds significant importance in U.S. history, especially in terms of economics and culture. It was a time of recovery following the devastation of World War II, and the United States was emerging as a global superpower. The post-war era was marked by booming industrial growth, the rise of consumer culture, and an expanding economy. The American public was optimistic, and this coin, part of the everyday circulation, was part of the fabric of daily life. But how did this little copper coin become so much more than just a piece of currency? Let's take a step back in time and look at the 1 cent coin's background in 1949. In the years following the war, the U.S. Mint was focused on providing enough currency for the expanding economy. During this time, the 1 cent coin, commonly known as the penny, had already been circulating for over a century in various forms. The design of the penny had been standardized for the most part, but the 1949 edition still held some intriguing characteristics that set it apart from other years. When you take a closer look at the design of the 1 cent 1949 coin, you'll notice it carries the signature features of the Lincoln Cent series, which had been introduced in 1909. Abraham Lincoln's likeness is prominently featured on the obverse side of the coin, a design created by artist Victor David Brenner. Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, is one of the most revered figures in American history, and his image was chosen to grace the cent to commemorate his legacy. But beyond Lincoln's face, there are some subtle yet important details that set the 1949 penny apart. The date, 1949, is displayed boldly on the obverse, and this is where the magic happens for collectors. Coins from certain years, like 1949, can become more valuable depending on their minting characteristics, condition, and rarity. During the late 1940s, the United States was still grappling with the effects of the war and its aftermath, and this was reflected in the production of coins. The 1949 penny wasn't produced in massive numbers compared to other years, which contributes to its rarity and increased collector demand. On the reverse side of the 1 cent 1949 coin, you'll see the classic wheat ear design, which was in use from 1909 until 1958. The design features 2 ears of wheat on either side of the coin, with the words E pluribus unum and United States of America surrounding it. The wheat design was created by engraver John R. Sinnock and was meant to symbolize abundance and the agricultural strength of the United States. The phrase, E pluribus unum, translates to, out of many, one, and it was a motto that underscored the unity of the states. Now, let's delve into why this 1949 penny is so intriguing to collectors. The primary factor that makes a coin valuable is its rarity, and the 1 cent 1949 is no exception. While millions of these coins were minted, a key element to remember is that they were circulated widely, which means most of them were used in daily transactions and have been subject to wear and tear over the years. Finding one of these coins in excellent or uncirculated condition is quite a feat. If you manage to find a 1949 penny that has been well preserved, it could be a real gem. But that's not all. Some 1949 pennies have a certain level of appeal due to minting errors or variations that occurred during production. These errors are highly prized in the numismatic community. The most notable of these is the 1949 D mintmark penny, which was struck at the Denver Mint. There were several variations of this coin, and some of them had slight differences in the way they were struck, leading to interesting and rare pieces that collectors hunt for. Whether it's a double die error, an over-minting mistake, or just a coin with unique characteristics, these variations can make a significant difference in the value of a 1949 penny. The condition of the coin is another critical factor in determining its value. Coins that are in mint state, meaning they show no signs of wear or have been stored carefully over the years, are much more valuable than those that have been circulated extensively. The grading system for coins is essential in determining their value, with categories such as uncirculated, fine, and good being used to assess their condition. A coin that has been preserved in its original state without damage, scratches, or wear will fetch a much higher price in the market. Collectors are always on the lookout for these well-preserved coins, as they can fetch impressive sums. In fact, a 1949 penny in pristine condition, especially one with a minting error, can sell for far more than its face value. Coins that are graded at the highest levels, such as MS 65 or MS 66, mint state, can command substantial prices in auctions or from private buyers. And now, let's get to the exciting part, the value of the 1949 penny. If you happen to own a 1949 1-cent coin in uncirculated condition or with a rare minting error, you could be holding a treasure worth a whopping $66,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was minted, could now be worth an incredible amount, depending on its condition and rarity. So, if you've got a collection of old coins or come across a 1949 penny in your spare change, it might just be worth your time to take a closer look. Who knows? You could be holding a coin that could transform into a valuable asset in your collection. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a beginner, always remember to check the condition of your coins and consider any unique features they might have. That wraps up our deep dive into the United States 1-cent 1949 coin. We hope you found this exploration of its history, design, and value as fascinating as we did. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more exciting discoveries in the world of rare coins. Top 2. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of coins, and we've got something truly special for you, the United States 1-cent coin from 1957. This humble penny may seem ordinary at first glance, but as we explore its history, design, and collector appeal, you'll see just how much more it is worth than meets the eye. By the end of this video, we'll reveal an astonishing fact about its current value that might just leave you in awe. So, grab a seat, and let's uncover the intriguing story behind this iconic piece of American history. To understand why the 1957 1-cent coin is so significant, we need to step back in time and look at the historical context. The year 1957 was a pivotal moment in American history. The country was in the midst of a post-war economic boom, and the 1950s were defined by prosperity and rapid growth. The U.S. was enjoying the fruits of its victory in World War II, and the American public was experiencing an era of unprecedented growth and stability. In the 1950s, the United States was a world leader in industry, technology, and culture. It was also a time when everyday Americans were beginning to see more disposable income and had more opportunities to invest in their futures. However, in the midst of this prosperity, the U.S. Mint was still busy producing everyday coins, including the 1-cent coin, which was circulating widely in the country. These pennies, despite being so common, would go on to play a vital role in shaping the legacy of U.S. currency and continue to captivate collectors today. At this point in history, the design of the 1-cent coin was already familiar to Americans. It had been in circulation for nearly 50 years with only subtle changes. The design we see on the 1957 penny was part of the Lincoln Cent series, which had been introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The decision to feature Lincoln on the penny was monumental, as it was the first time a real person's image appeared on a U.S. coin. The obverse of the 1957 1-cent coin proudly displays a portrait of President Lincoln, designed by artist Victor David Brenner. Brenner's design has become one of the most iconic images in American numismatics. Lincoln's face, full of wisdom and dignity, gazes to the right, with the word Liberty inscribed above his head and the year 1957 clearly visible beneath him. To the left of Lincoln's portrait is the motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that has appeared on U.S. coins since 1864 and was reaffirmed by law in the 1950s. On the reverse of the coin, you'll find the classic design featuring 2 ears of wheat on either side, symbolizing the agricultural strength of the United States. The design was created by engraver John R. Sinnock and has become one of the most beloved coin designs in American history. The words E pluribus unum, out of many, one, are inscribed along the top, with United States of America and 1 cent displayed across the bottom. The wheat design remained in place on the Lincoln penny until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. The 1957 penny, therefore, represents the final years of this cherished design, adding an extra layer of nostalgia and significance for collectors. The 1957 1-cent coin is particularly appealing to collectors because it marks the tail end of an era. During this time, the U.S. Mint was still minting large quantities of coins for everyday circulation, but few people at the time knew that this coin would one day become a collector's item. Most of these coins were used and spent as part of daily life, so finding a 1957 penny in excellent condition is becoming increasingly rare. It's also worth noting that the U.S. Mint produced the 1957 penny at several different mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. One of the key factors that make the 1957 penny so valuable to collectors today is its rarity and condition. Over the years, many of these coins have been worn down by circulation, making it harder to find one in pristine condition. Coins that are well preserved, free from damage, scratches, and excessive wear, are highly sought after. And it's not just the coin's appearance that matters, collector appeal also depends on its rarity, and this is where things get interesting. The 1957 1-cent coin was produced in large numbers, with billions of coins being struck that year. However, as time has passed, a significant portion of those coins has been lost, destroyed, or heavily worn, making those in good condition even more desirable. As collectors seek out high-quality examples of the 1957 penny, the demand for these coins has increased over time, driving up their value, but that's not all. Like many coins from the 1950s, the 1957 penny also has a number of variants and minting errors that can increase its value. Some of the more notable varieties include the 1957 D mintmark penny, which was struck at the Denver Mint, and the 1957 S mintmark penny from the San Francisco Mint. While the differences in minting location may seem subtle, they are important to collectors who want to build a complete collection. Some 1957 pennies also have minting errors, such as double dies or off-center strikes, which are highly prized by collectors. For example, a 1957 penny that was struck with a double die error, a mistake where the design was stamped more than once, can be worth significantly more than a regular issue coin. Similarly, if a penny was struck off-center, it can command a higher price because it's considered an error coin, making it more unique and valuable. So, let's talk about what you can expect in terms of the value of the 1957 1-cent coin. If you have a 1957 penny in uncirculated condition, especially one with no visible signs of wear and tear, you could be looking at a coin worth significantly more than just 1-cent coins that have been professionally graded at the highest levels, such as MS-65 or MS-66, can sell for hundreds of dollars at auction. If your penny has one of those rare minting errors or is in exceptional condition, you might be able to sell it for even more. But here's the big reveal: the current value of the 1957 penny could be as much as $59,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1957 could be worth an incredible amount, depending on its condition, rarity, and any unique features it may have. So, if you happen to find a 1957 penny in your collection or in your spare change, it could be worth a small fortune. Top 3, we're diving into a coin that you may have overlooked, but one that holds a fascinating story and could be worth far more than you might imagine: the United States 1-cent coin from 1977. It's not just any old penny. This coin has a unique history and some remarkable features that make it highly sought after by collectors today. Stick around as we explore its historical background, design, minting details, and, of course, its impressive value, which might just surprise you in the end. So grab your magnifying glass and get ready to uncover the hidden gems of the 1977 penny. Let's start by setting the stage with the historical context of the 1977 1-cent coin. The year 1977 was a time of transformation in the United States. The country was in the midst of a complex economic landscape, with inflation creeping up, the energy crisis causing tension, and political shifts underway. The 1970s were a time of change, and the U.S. Mint was in full swing, producing millions of coins for circulation. The penny, which had been around for more than a century at this point, was one of the most used coins in the U.S. economy. However, like many coins from this era, the 1977 penny holds a unique place in history due to the social and economic atmosphere of the time. During the 1970s, inflation had started to rise, which made it more difficult for everyday Americans to make ends meet. At the same time, there was a significant shift in U.S. currency design, and the 1977 penny was still under the influence of the iconic Lincoln Cent series, which had been introduced in 1909 to honor the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. Even as economic pressures mounted, the penny continued to carry the weight of the nation's history. The design of the 1977 1-cent coin is part of this long-standing tradition. On the obverse side, we find a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by artist Victor David Brenner. Brenner's depiction of Lincoln has become one of the most famous and enduring images on American coins. The image of Lincoln, facing right, exudes dignity, wisdom, and strength, qualities that have come to define not only Lincoln's legacy but also the ideals of the United States. Above his portrait is the word liberty, and beneath it, the year 1977 is prominently displayed. To the left of Lincoln's image, we find the inscription, "In God We Trust," which has appeared on U.S. coins since 1864 and became law in the 1950s. On the reverse of the 1977 penny, you'll notice the familiar wheat design that had been in place on the Lincoln Cent for decades. This design features 2 ears of wheat, which symbolize the nation's agricultural roots and its abundant resources. The words "E pluribus unum," meaning "out of many, one," are inscribed above the wheat ears, a reminder of the unity and strength of the United States. The phrase "United States of America" and the denomination 1 cent appear around the bottom of the coin. Now, you might be wondering what makes the 1977 penny so special in terms of its collector appeal. After all, pennies are one of the most common coins in circulation, and the 1977 version was no different. So, why has this seemingly simple coin become a subject of fascination for numismatists around the world? The answer lies in a few key factors: rarity, condition, and potential minting errors. One of the most significant aspects of the 1977 penny's value is its rarity in high-quality condition. While millions of these coins were produced, most of them were used in everyday transactions and have experienced considerable wear and tear. As a result, the vast majority of 1977 pennies in circulation today are in poor condition, showing signs of scratches, discoloration, and other damage. However, a small percentage of these coins were carefully preserved over the years and have survived in excellent, uncirculated condition. These well-preserved examples are highly sought after by collectors who are looking to complete their collections with coins in top condition. The condition of a coin plays a significant role in determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, with higher grades commanding higher prices. A coin that has been professionally graded as MS-65 or higher, meaning it has very few visible imperfections, can fetch a premium price. The 1977 penny, if in near-perfect or uncirculated condition, can be worth much more than its face value, especially if it has been preserved properly. So, if you happen to come across a 1977 penny that looks almost brand new, it could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. In addition to condition, there are certain varieties of the 1977 penny that can further increase its value. Some of these variations stem from minting errors, which occur when a coin is struck improperly or with a flaw. Minting errors are prized by collectors because they make the coin unique and more valuable. For example, there are cases where the 1977 penny was struck with a double die, meaning the design was unintentionally stamped twice. This error results in a slightly blurry or doubled image, making the coin particularly interesting to collectors who are searching for rare and unusual specimens. A 1977 penny with this kind of error could fetch a much higher price than a regular coin. Another variation that can increase the value of a 1977 penny is the presence of a mint mark. The U.S. Mint produces coins at several different mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins that were minted in these different locations are marked with a small letter to indicate where they were made. The 1977 penny, like most pennies from this time period, was struck in both Philadelphia, which does not use a mint mark, and Denver, which uses a D mint mark. If you happen to find a 1977 penny with an S mint mark from the San Francisco Mint, you may have an even rarer coin on your hands. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the value of the 1977 1-cent coin. While most 1977 pennies are worth only a few cents above their face value, there are certain coins that can command much higher prices. A 1977 penny in excellent condition, especially one that has been graded as MS 65 or higher, could be worth hundreds of dollars. However, if you happen to find a rare error coin or one with a unique variation, the price could be even more impressive. The value of a 1977 penny in top condition or with a minting error could be as much as $55,000, yes, you heard that right. A single 1977 penny could be worth an astounding $55,000, depending on its condition and rarity. So, if you've got a stash of old pennies or come across one of these coins in your spare change, make sure to check its condition closely. You could be holding a rare and valuable piece of American history. Top 4, we're diving into a coin that you may have seen 1,000 times but never realized how much potential it holds. The United States 1-cent coin from 1982. This seemingly ordinary penny has an extraordinary story, and the more we look into it, the more we'll uncover its fascinating journey and remarkable appeal among collectors. By the end of this video, we'll reveal how much this penny is worth today, and trust me, it's not as small as you might expect. So, grab your magnifying glass, and let's dig into the history, design, and incredible value of the 1982 penny. The year 1982 was a time of change and transformation in the United States. The economy was shifting, technology was advancing, and the nation was adjusting to new global realities. This period marked a turning point, not just in American culture and politics, but also in the world of currency. The 1982 penny stands as a symbol of this change, both for the United States Mint and for the nation as a whole. In the early 1980s, the United States was facing serious economic challenges, including high inflation and a growing national debt. These issues put a strain on the government's ability to produce coins, and it was becoming increasingly expensive to mint the 1-cent piece. This led the U.S. Mint to make a significant change in the composition of the penny, one that would directly impact its value in the future. Until 1982, pennies were made primarily of copper, but in 1982, a drastic shift occurred in how the penny was produced. The mint began using a combination of copper and zinc in the coin's composition, which would change the penny's weight and look forever. The 1982 penny is unique because it marks the transition from the classic copper-based coin to the zinc core penny we use today. This shift was primarily due to the rising cost of copper. In 1982, copper prices had surged, making it too expensive to continue using copper as the main material for pennies. As a result, the U.S. Mint started producing pennies with a core made of zinc and a thin copper plating. However, not all of the pennies produced in 1982 were made with this new composition. In fact, a small number of pennies were still struck with the old copper composition, making these coins particularly rare and highly sought after by collectors. This transition in composition is one of the reasons the 1982 penny is so interesting. If you have a 1982 penny in your collection, it's important to know whether it's made of copper or the newer zinc-copper combination, as the value can vary greatly between the two types. But don't worry, we'll dive deeper into that distinction shortly. Now, let's take a look at the design of the 1982 penny. Like its predecessors, the 1982 penny features the image of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The obverse side of the coin displays Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Lincoln, which has become one of the most recognizable images on U.S. currency. Lincoln's face, full of wisdom and determination, gazes toward the right, with the word Liberty inscribed above his head and the year 1982 displayed below. To the left of Lincoln's profile is the inscription, "In God We Trust," a phrase that has been part of U.S. coins since 1864. On the reverse of the coin, you'll find the familiar image of the Lincoln Memorial, which had been featured on the penny since 1959. Designed by Frank Gasparo, the Lincoln Memorial is a fitting tribute to Lincoln's legacy, and the reverse side of the coin has become one of the most iconic designs in American numismatics. The words "E pluribus unum" are inscribed at the top of the coin, while "United States of America" and "1 cent" appear at the bottom. What makes the 1982 penny so interesting to collectors is not just the design, but the transition in materials and production processes. As we mentioned earlier, the shift in composition created two distinct types of 1982 pennies, those made primarily of copper and those made with the new zinc core. The copper pennies are often referred to as the 1982 copper pennies, while the newer zinc pennies are called 1982 zinc pennies. But how can you tell the difference between the two? It's all about the weight and sound. The copper pennies, which weigh about 3.11 grams, have a distinct, heavier feel compared to the zinc pennies, which weigh only 2.5 grams. You can also perform a quick test by tapping the penny on a hard surface. Copper pennies will produce a higher pitched sound, while the zinc pennies will sound slightly duller. If you've got a 1982 penny, give it a test and see which type you have. Why is this distinction so important? Well, the copper pennies are much rarer than their zinc counterparts, making them far more valuable. Although millions of pennies were struck in 1982, only a small percentage were made from copper, and those copper pennies are becoming increasingly harder to find. As a result, copper 1982 pennies in excellent condition are highly sought after by collectors and can command impressive prices. If you happen to have one of these copper pennies in your collection, you could be sitting on a small fortune. The scarcity of these copper pennies, combined with the fact that they were produced during a time of significant change in U.S. coinage, has made the 1982 copper penny a prized possession for many collectors. Coins from this era have become increasingly valuable as they become more difficult to find in good condition. Over time, many of these pennies have been worn down or lost, but those that have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition are now considered rare treasures. In addition to the two main types of 1982 pennies, there are also some rare minting errors that make this coin even more valuable. As with other coins, errors in the minting process can make a coin stand out from the rest, and collectors are always on the lookout for these unique specimens. Some of the errors found on 1982 pennies include double dies, misstrikes, and off-center impressions. These errors can greatly increase the value of the coin, and if you happen to find one, it could be worth much more than the standard issue. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1982 penny. The copper pennies, especially those in excellent condition, can be worth hundreds of dollars or even more, depending on their grade and rarity. However, the most valuable 1982 pennies are those with errors or those that have been professionally graded at a high level. If you have a 1982 copper penny that has been preserved in uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a coin worth up to $50,000, yes, that's right, $50,000 for a single penny. If you have a rare, high-grade 1982 copper penny or one with a minting error, it could fetch an incredible price at auction or in private sales. So, take a close look at your coin collection and keep an eye out for any 1982 pennies. If you happen to find one of these rare coins in top condition, you could have a small fortune on your hands. Top 5 and last rare penny, we're diving into the fascinating story of the United States 1-cent coin from 1983. At first glance, it may seem like just another penny from the vast sea of American currency. However, as we peel back the layers of history, design, and minting processes, you'll soon see that the 1983 penny is anything but ordinary. From its significance during a transformative time in U.S. history to its rarity and immense appeal among collectors, this little coin has a tale worth telling. Stick with us until the end, and we'll reveal just how much this penny could be worth today, and trust us, you might be surprised. To understand the value of the 1983 penny, it's important to take a step back in time and understand the historical context surrounding the coin. The 1980s were a pivotal decade in the United States, filled with significant social, economic, and political changes. The country was still reeling from the effects of the 1970s, with inflation, energy crises, and shifting global dynamics affecting everyday life. The U.S. government was working hard to stabilize the economy, and part of that effort involved re-evaluating the cost and materials used for producing coins. By in 1983, the United States Mint had already transitioned from using copper to a copper-plated zinc composition for pennies, starting with the 1982 penny. This shift had been necessitated by rising copper prices, which had made the production of copper pennies increasingly expensive. The change to the copper-plated zinc composition was a significant move by the Mint to reduce production costs. But what does this mean for the 1983 penny, and why does it matter for collectors? Well, it turns out that some 1983 pennies were struck with an error that makes them highly valuable. More on that later. The 1983 penny, like many other coins minted in the 1980s, features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln. On the obverse side, we see Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has graced the penny since 1909. The image of Lincoln, deep in thought, reflects the dignity and strength that defined his legacy as the 16th President of the United States. Surrounding Lincoln's image, you'll find the words "Liberty" above and "In God We Trust" to the left. Beneath Lincoln's portrait, the year 1983 is inscribed, marking the exact year the coin was minted. But what truly sets the 1983 penny apart is its reverse side, which displays the classic image of the Lincoln Memorial. Designed by Frank Gasparo, the Lincoln Memorial has been the standard reverse design for the penny since 1959, paying tribute to one of the most iconic monuments in the United States. The inscription, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, can be found above the Lincoln Memorial, while United States of America and 1 cent appear below it. The design itself is deeply rooted in American history, representing both Lincoln's personal legacy and the broader story of the United States. Now that we have the historical and design context, let's turn our attention to what makes the 1983 penny so intriguing in the world of coin collecting. The primary factor that drives the appeal of the 1983 penny lies in its rarity and potential for minting errors. While millions of pennies were produced in 1983, certain variations of the coin have become incredibly valuable due to the imperfections that occurred during the minting process. The most significant error for the 1983 penny is the rare double die error, which occurs when a coin is struck with the same design more than once. This can lead to doubled letters or numbers, creating a unique, unmistakable flaw. In the case of the 1983 penny, the double die error typically affects the word "liberty" or the date, 1983, itself. A 1983 penny with a noticeable double die error can be an incredibly valuable find for collectors, as these errors are relatively rare and highly coveted. The appeal of minting errors doesn't stop with the double die. Another interesting feature to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the penny is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be printed off-center on the coin. Off-center strikes can make a coin unique and more valuable, depending on the degree of misalignment. Collectors love these types of errors because they represent a deviation from the normal, making them one-of-a-kind pieces. So, why are these minting errors so important? Well, it all comes down to the rarity and the demand from collectors. In the world of numismatics, the value of a coin is often determined by its rarity and condition. A standard 1983 penny in average condition is worth only 1 cent, as you might expect. However, a 1983 penny with a minting error can command a much higher price due to the limited number of these error coins in existence. The rarer and more unusual the error, the higher the potential value. Beyond minting errors, Another factor that contributes to the value of the 1983 penny is its condition. As with any collectible coin, the better the condition, the higher the value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, and those in exceptional condition are more highly valued. An uncirculated 1983 penny that has been carefully preserved could fetch a significantly higher price than a coin that has been worn down by years of circulation. Coins that are graded at MS65 or higher are considered to be in excellent condition and can be quite valuable, even without minting errors. In addition to the two primary types of 1983 pennies, those with minting errors and those in high-grade condition, there are also other factors that can influence a coin's value. The presence of a mintmark can affect a coin's rarity. In 1983, pennies were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Pennies struck at the Philadelphia mint typically don't carry a mintmark, while those produced in Denver feature a small D mintmark. Both types of coins are of interest to collectors, but the value of a particular coin may be influenced by its place of minting, with certain mintmarks being rarer than others in specific years. As we've seen, the 1983 penny has several factors that make it desirable for collectors: its historical significance, its iconic design, and the potential for minting errors or rare variations. But what's the big payoff for finding a rare 1983 penny? Just how much can a collector expect to get for one of these coins, especially if it's in pristine condition or has a valuable minting error? A 1983 penny with no minting errors in good condition may not be worth much more than its face value, but a coin with a noticeable double die error or an off-center strike can fetch a significantly higher price. Some of the most valuable 1983 pennies have been sold at auctions for tens of thousands of dollars, especially if they are in uncirculated or near mint condition. A high-grade 1983 penny, particularly one with an error or rare variation, can be worth as much as $48,000. Yes, that's right, $48,000 for a single penny. This is the kind of value that coin collectors dream about, and it shows just how important it is to carefully examine your coins for rare varieties. If you have a 1983 penny in your collection, it's worth taking a closer look to see if you might be holding onto something truly special. That concludes our look at the United States 1-cent coin from 1983. From its historical context and iconic design to its potential for minting errors and impressive value, this penny is much more than just pocket change. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1983 penny and that you've gained a new appreciation for its significance in the world of coin collecting. If you liked this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more exciting discoveries in the world of rare coins. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!